Abusiani como awachani so Haxi AGH Politics Avenue. Podcast or training because make headlines. And a jump right now you be exomo. And need me black simu. Mr. Oxe yanko a political highways in a jadam a unia any axem koto akra. Na a year Sulemana Brima ono and a chief executive director Emma Media Foundation for West Africa. A year big push so sourcing contracts no. Omu ena ekofa ede baye na papa yi etimi aka asem a ene yaso ma yidi bi eksombo omu kire se omu ebowura aye Ghana Highways Authority eye adwumaku a omu hwe yen kwan so ewo Ghana Haxi na omu kwaji omu krata no omu hu se 96 contracts bi ewo ho na emu 8 no omu award ede ma eye MPP4 because o hwe date na satam no na eye na nado dankwa Akufo-Addo ono ena wati akunya so almost a ongoing project awunia hon sensem de opanyin no agemra oboyin kiremu minka se bebre yemu run hweye na yehwe ne yeko ene de ba hye no so am say say age politics avenue onia yembo enra eye insimni
responses that you have to it regarding first that particular company that you referenced at one staff. And he points to a particular contract that this company is executing. And then also the cost per kilometer that you put in that report as well that you published almost a week ago.
All right. Thank you very much, Alfred. Thank you to all colleagues who have taken keen interest in these national conversations. I think it is all good for us. And good morning to all your panelists, my friend Felix, for all the analysis and the service to our nation. So I will try to respond to everything that I heard him say. Unfortunately, I only joined, I was actually with the doctor when your producer was calling earlier. So the time I could join was when my friend and brother Felix was speaking. Ordinarily, I would have said that because we have submitted our responses to our full report to the President, Office of the President, maybe we would have left it at that. But I think that for purposes of public education and clarity of the issues, as being articulated by Mr. Felix Ofosu, I think it is important that we clarify certain things. Number one, when we did the request to the ministry, we requested specifically for information on projects specifically on Big Push. We did not request for all road projects or all projects awarded by the ministry. So we did not ask for contracts that have been awarded for filling of potholes or grading of feeder roads or whatever. We said, give us the data on projects that have been awarded under the Big Push initiative. When the ministry released the data to us, the data was captioned Big Push Master Register. And it was clear that whatever projects that was being released to us or communicated to us were projects that were under the Big Push. So it is important that I state this to avoid the confusion that is being created, and I believe that is deliberate, that the ministry has awarded a certain number of projects. In fact, the minister himself says, over 400 projects. This morning, I heard our brother Addo on another network saying over 900 projects. We are talking about Big Push. The other thing that is very important is that when they talk about the over 400, over 500 projects that have been awarded, let them tell you the total cost of those over 400 or over 500 projects. We are talking about initiative of the government, and I must commend President Mahama for the initiative. We all do admit that we have issues with our road. And so for the president to say, I am taking a bold initiative to fix our roads, I think we all need to commend and encourage him for that. So when they talk to you about the total number of, we've done 500, blah, 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 I think it is important, ask them, what is the total cost of that compared to the Big Push initiative? Under Big Push, we are talking about initiative that is costing us over 100 billion. So that is why that is very important. Now, having said that, when the ministry released the data to us, we got one from the Ghana Highway Authority with 96 projects. 8 of them were specifically designated as ongoing projects. So when you look at them, the 8, you would see that the dates of award are in 2022, 2023, 2024. So clearly, those contracts were awarded under the MPP, those 8. Then we are left with 88. And the 88, according to the Highway Authority, are projects that were not inherited. The ministry itself also then released its information to us under the caption, Big Push Master Register. From the ministry also gave us the same information that we got from the Ghana Highway Authority, plus 3 feeder road projects, plus 16 urban roads projects. So when we got the data, we said, okay, since they have the Highway Authority had designated these 8 projects as ongoing projects, we are excluding that, and we are analyzing only the contracts that, according to the award date, were awarded between August 2025 and February 2026. In other words, projects that were awarded under this government. So we did the analysis, and the purpose for our request was to verify ongoing claims that a predominant part of the Big Push project, which is taking so much of our money, are being done through sole sourcing. So we wanted to verify. So when we took it, the data we requested also included, please indicate the name of the contractor, the name of the project, date of award, type of procurement used, contract sum, and then prospective date of completion. And they broke it down like that for us. So we basically look at what did they say when it came to, or when it comes to procurement method used.
Right.
Now, when you take out the 8 projects that they specified that were awarded under the previous regime, you are left with 107. We looked at the 107, and 81 of them were done through sole sourcing, not us. We are not saying it. They paid their own records. Were done through sole sourcing. So we said then it appears that indeed, if you look at it, 76.something% of the Big Push projects are being awarded on sole sourcing as are being claimed, or as is being claimed. And we put that out. Now, when we did that, the ministry itself, the minister went to Parliament to brief Parliament, then published its own data to challenge what we have put out on their website. What did they do? They published a certain 54 projects, and then another set of 23. And the explanation was that the 54 are projects that were awarded directly by this government, and the 23 were inherited. Now, first of all, if you add 54 plus 23, you get 77. And so the 77 is certainly under the total of 115 that they raised to us, or they gave to us. So we looked at it. Which contracts are in the documents they gave to us, which are not in the ones that they have published? And we identified quite a lot, indicating the type of procurement method, the contract sum, the road name, the contractor name, and all of that. So we then said, but if you are publishing your own data, why then do you reduce the number of projects that you have awarded? But let's put that aside. Let's look at the data that they themselves have published, and look at the type of procurement method that they used. We looked at that, and it is even worse. Of the 54, 47 were sole sourced. And then the remaining, 7 or so, were ones that were restricted tendering. So we are not even talking about the 23 that they said they inherited. Again, when you look at the data that they themselves published, if you look at the 23, the date of award are mixed. Some of them 2022, 2023, some of them 2025. If you are telling us that you inherited these projects, then of course we should see that either all the dates the dates indicate that they were all awarded under the NPP, or if you novated all of them, then we should see all the awards being dated in 2025. So away from the mixture. So does it mean some were novated, some were left, and so on? So the ministry itself is confused. Now let me come to the other issue about the Peterson that my brother was talking about.
Yes.
Number one, we said that the Peterson was awarded in 2016 at a cost of 25.9 million euros. If you recall, there was a little bit of a controversy about that the Peterson road when Manasseh did his Ford gift thing.
True.
Because that was the road that contractor, Kanazoe, had done, the Burkina Faso contractor. The president went there, and during the commissioning, the president said that this is a project that Ghanaian contractors would have to come and learn from, and that there is no road in Ghana that is pleasing to the eye than the Peterson road. And my brother now is saying that was not asphalted. Who tells him that it was not asphalted? If it was not asphalted, why would the president say that the Ghanaian people need to come and contractors need to come and learn how to do a road from here, and then the road is so pleasing to the eye? This was an asphalted road. Now,
you say it was an asphalted road.
Yes. You can Google it and read about it. And look at the road and look at what the president said at the time. Now we are saying it has been awarded more than twice the cost of the original construction for rehabilitation of the same road. Now, granted that we don't know the scope of works and so on and so forth. When we did our story, we said that, look, we have the commitment, a copy of the commitment authorization signed by the Minister of Finance. And it indicates that for the Dodo Petaso Nkwanta rehabilitation project, it's supposed to be 683 million. But the ministry, the data they gave us, awarded the contract at 804 million, which is 120 million more than the commitment authorization figure that had been given. The next day, the minister comes out, uses his Twitter account to tell Ghanaians that they should disregard the information we are putting out that the Peterson has been awarded at 804, which is 120 million more than the actual figure in the commitment authorization. And that is misinformation that we are peddling. And then it was supported. Following the president's directive, the minister pulled down the data that they had published. And now, later, maybe ostensibly for editing, later restores it, and you can go to the ministry's website and check. Later restores it, and when they restore it, the Peterson is back to 804 million. So who was lying to the people of Ghana? Meanwhile, when the minister posted that they should disregard that figure on the website and edited the figure to 683, in line with what the minister has said and in line with the commitment authorization. But go and see what they have republished. If only they have not gone back to do what they do, which is to edit, you will see that the Peterson is back to 804. And 804 at today's rate, or at the rate at the time that we were doing the story, was the over 63 million euros. And we are saying a road that was done, but the president even commended just 10 years ago. We are rehabilitating it, and it is costed more than twice the cost. I think that is quite curious. Mm-hmm. But the other thing is on the Peterson is capacity, and I'll tie that in with this thing about one worker and 4 worker and so on and so forth. We also said that the Peterson Nkwanta, that road, is awarded to a company that incorporated in January 2025. Mm-hmm. And per the ministry's guidelines and everything, road contractors are classified. So to be able to get a contract that is worth over 800 million, you must be an A1B1 contractor. And then we noticed that a company is registered in 2025. Obviously, to be able to graduate from the Bs to Cs to Bs to A1, B1, you must have built a certain track record. Okay. So how did the company that was incorporated just last year able to get an A1, B1 classification to be awarded that contract? Now, when you go to the ministry's website, the company is called Growth 82. Check whether Growth 82 has A1, B1 classification. They don't. That is capacity issue number one. And in fact, the Peterson is awarded on restrictive tendering. And that even makes it worse, because restrictive tendering means that you are inviting a certain group of companies with certain capacity and you are selecting one out of them. So how come that company was able to beat out others to be able to get restrictive contracting? Now, the other thing about a company with 1 staff, 4 staff, and so on, that my brother Felix is saying, oh, that company has done so many roads and so on and so forth. You see, Alfred, all of us who have gone to university, before you go to the university, there is an eligibility requirement before you can enter. So your SHS results or your WASI results must be one that qualifies you to enter into the university. Otherwise, you don't get into the university for somebody to say that, oh, the guy is not qualified, though. Then they say, come and see his performance. He's really doing A or he's doing B and so on and so forth. The fundamental question is, a company that indicated that it has one worker, how did they pass the eligibility requirement to even get the contract? Because if Felix is talking about, look, you can decide to keep any number of permanent staff that you want and all of that. Look, in this country, if it were so, all of us, then I would say at Media Foundation, we have one staff. So that at the end of the month, I pay only one person's social security contribution. Is that what we want to encourage in this country? Is that what is legal? How about the income taxes that people have to pay? So that if I have 24 or 30 workers, I can declare that I have only one. So that I continue to maybe avoid payment of taxes, avoid payment of net, and so on. But the most fundamental question is, how did that company pass the eligibility test of capacity? Or are we being told that the officials at the ministry, they already know the track record of that company, and therefore looking at the documents that they presented, or rather, it is about what they know of the company. I don't think that is what our rules say.
Right.
You know, then the issue about cost per kilometer. Yes, I agree with Felix. You cannot say that construction of, let's say, Kumasi-Sunyani Road, if it is 10 kilometers, it should be the same if you are doing Accra-Koforidua Road, which is also 10 kilometers. The terrain is different, the soil texture is different, everything is different. We understand that. But, you know, when we are doing some of these stories, what they should understand also is that we don't just come out. We would have engaged engineers, we would have engaged some experts, people who would have been involved, even maybe sometimes in the ministry, maybe some few years ago, a decade ago or whatever, who understand the terrain and are still consultants within the field. They will look at certain figures and tell you, hey, Abba, why, how? So if you are doing a 9-kilometer feeder road, and the total cost is 146, and it's over 10 million per kilometer, and it's a Sapiti. Sapiti, as we all know, it is the kind of road that they do after one rain or two rains,
then
the road is washed away.
It washes off, yes.
Yes. Look, they can look at I think it's lot 3, dualization of Winneba Cape Coast. Dualization of Winneba Cape Coast. The total cost per kilometer, when you break it down, it comes to 154 million cedis per kilometer. 154 million per kilometer. You see, they are quick to always raise the Mamoto Way. That is always $17 million per kilometer. The Mamoto Way is not dualization. The Mamoto Way, we are talking about a concrete, 4-lane concrete that is being done. Extra 6 lanes. So we are talking about a 10-lane road project. Then remodeling of the Tekwasi, plus 3 other interchanges on that 19.5 kilometer stretch road.
Mr. Kwacho also references the components of that particular construction, so that it's not just about the road that is being constructed. There are other components to it, which feeds into the cost per kilometer.
I absolutely agree. But I'm saying that, look, we've spoken to experts. They know, some of them even perhaps have ideas about, the engineering and everything about some of the roads that we are talking about. Because some of these people are the same consultants in the field, the same engineers in the field that, people are using, or the ministry and others are using.
Okay.
So they know about it. And then they will say, yes, we know in some roads they will build a school, they will build a hospital, they will do interchanges, and so on and so forth. But I'm saying that experts have made it clear that lot that we are talking about on the dualization of Winneba Cape Coast, what dualization? 154 million per kilometer. But you see, our purpose of doing this work was really not about this cost per kilometer thing. In fact, the cost per kilometer thing we brought it in to say that, look, as part of social accountability, if you are in Bunkuru or you are from my village and your road is being done, we want you to know the name of the contractor, the project, when the project was awarded, the total cost of your project, the cost per kilometer of your project, so that citizens will know that, if after one rain, my road is washed off, and I'm being told that this road was done at 10 million per kilometer. Why? How can the 10 million per kilometer road? They did it. And after one rain or two rains, it is gone. Ghanaians must know. That was the beginning and the real essence of this whole thing about cost per kilometer, which we would continue to put out. I mean, people can talk about the scope of work and all of that, but we'll continue to put out for people to know.
Right.
I said, finally, you see, we are talking about prudence. And you look at some of the allocations in the contracts that are made. I talked about a 9-kilometer road at Egusum Pakadang or something, and it's 146 million. What for me is quite curious is the allocation of the amounts. You look at the allocation, and 37.5 million of that money is allocated for maintenance of Department of Federal Road headquarters. Mm-hmm. There's another project awarded under Federal Roads, under Big Push, that 5.2 million Ghana cedis is allocated for maintenance of Department of Federal Roads contract. Headquarters. These are just about 3 contracts that we had. And out of the 3 contracts, almost 43 million Ghana cedis has been allocated for the maintenance of Department of Federal Roads contract headquarters. Then in one of the Federal Roads, I think it's about 19.5 or something, they are buying 3 cross-country vehicles, 2 pickups. And then you ask yourself, if we are a poor country that really wants to develop, and the president says, I want to maintain roads, and we are saying that we don't want to repeat the terrible things that the MPP did. And I should emphasize that, because I don't think we got the governance we deserve under MPP. MPP brought us so low in terms of governance. And
we ain't some who wrote because of channel so I'm not so generous and it's all bad in the Adumi, Onia, Ebasan Asumo.